When the moon rose over the Carpathian hills, they said the royal chapel windows bled light, thick and red, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the stained glass. Some bloodlines don't fade with time. They evolve and hide in plain sight. Nightbound Bloodline presents 5 royal families rumored to descend from ancient vampires. What you're about to hear isn't hearsay or fiction. These are documented accounts, whispers from historians, servants, and even royal physicians who swore they saw what should never have been. Through time, these families have ruled nations, influenced wars, and rewritten history under the guise of nobility. But beneath gilded crowns and royal seals flowed something colder than blood: the Habsburg curse. My name's Lucas Schneider. I'm 42, a museum curator in Vienna. I've never believed in ghost stories or superstitions, though I've archived hundreds of them. I handle old relics, royal documents, family portraits, the kind most people walk past without a second glance. But what I found in the restricted archives of the Hofburg Palace last winter changed me forever. It was late November. The city was emptying into the first frost. I had been given clearance to review a sealed crate from the mid-1700s, marked only with the initials M.T., likely belonging to Empress Maria Theresa. Inside were portraits, faded letters, and one small, locked wooden box. The thing reeked faintly of iron, and my gloves came away stained, though there was no visible rust. As I worked, the air felt heavier, like the room itself was holding its breath. I told myself it was just the age, the chill, the mildew of centuries-old stone. By the third hour, I noticed something peculiar in one of the portraits. It depicted Archduke Maximilian, eyes too dark, almost absorbing the lamplight. His reflection in the glass behind him wasn't right. The light didn't catch it at all. When I looked closer, I saw what seemed like another silhouette, just behind the Empress's shoulder. A face thinner, older, but eerily similar to her. Then, from the wooden box, came a scrape. Metal against wood. I froze. No one else was in the chamber. I'm certain of it. Even the guard outside had dozed off against the doorframe. When I finally forced myself to reach for it, I noticed faint droplets, red-brown, perfectly circular, along the seam of the lid, like something had leaked from inside. When I pried it open, the wax seal popped with a sigh, and the smell. It wasn't just decay. It was sweet, cloying, like old flowers soaked in blood. Inside lay a small, desiccated object wrapped in embroidered silk, a heart. Human. Preserved. Pinned beside it, a letter written in trembling Latin. May this offering curb his hunger until the next moon. I remember backing away so hard I struck the table behind me. My entire body went cold. Because the signature below, it wasn't Maria Theresa's. It was L. Draculesti. That name doesn't exist in any record of the Habsburg court. But Draculesti was the house of Vlad III, the Impaler. I sealed the box again and logged nothing. The next morning, the crate was gone. The archivist swore it had never existed. The Windsor's midnight secret. Name's Edith Barnes. Age 55. Royal housekeeper, semi-retired now, but I spent 30 years on and off in Buckingham Palace. Not one for gossip. Don't read tabloids. Never saw the royals as anything but people. Privileged, sure, but none with fangs in their teacups. Or so I thought. It was 1997. August. The palace was quieter than usual. The Queen at Balmoral. Only a skeleton staff remaining. I drew the late shift in the East Gallery, polishing glass, checking on drafts, keeping an eye on the portrait cases. The hallways echo at night. But that night the silence felt wrong, like the air was heavier, thick with waiting. At 2 in the morning, I heard footsteps on the gallery floor. Not the brisk march of the security lads. Slow, measured, like someone gliding, almost. Then came a cold wind drifting under the double doors, and a scent, not perfume, but old earth, sweet and heavy, like the humid center of a crypt. I tried to convince myself the draft was from a cracked window or maybe a storm brewing over the Thames. But I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched. Next came the creak of the glass cabinet. My back was turned, but the noise wasn't normal. I spun around, hard in my throat. There, reflected in the glass, was a tall figure, pale as bridal silk, with eyes dark as spilled wine. She wasn't dressed for the times. Her gown seemed centuries old, velvet nearly black, hands white and delicate. But here's the strange part. The portrait glass was fogged, except where her face should have shone. Her reflection, missing, like a gap in the world. She turned, as if sensing me. Those eyes locked onto mine, the cold bit deeper, pressing through bone. I wanted to scream, but my throat was tight and dry. She glided right past me, pausing just beyond the portrait of Prince Alfred, where a swath of moonlight fell through the window. For a moment, the moon tuned crimson, a trick of the eye, maybe, but everything red, washed in silent blood. She mouthed something. I swore it was, "Tell no one." Then she vanished, and the room snapped warm again. The portrait's glass, once clear, was slicked with condensation in the shape of a handprint. My legs wouldn't cooperate. I staggered out, shaking, and threw up in the staff washroom. I spent the next month telling myself it was fatigue, that maybe she was some lost guest, costumed for a charity ball. But I know what I saw. She was real, and she was something no living monarch would ever claim. Some say the Windsors brought in Romanian blood in the 19th century to purify the line. All I know is, that night, there was nothing pure nor entirely human about what moved through those halls. The Romanovs' last child, Ivan's curse. I'm Vasily Marchenko, 48 years old, former police inspector, St. Petersburg. I grew up with stories of the Romanovs and wild rumors about their fate. But I'm a rational man, or at least I was, until I was asked by the church to investigate disturbances at the basement beneath the old Ipatiev house in 1992. It was late September, early chill in the city, fog hanging thick along the canals. The church had repurposed the grounds, but locals kept reporting screams at night, red lights beneath the floorboards, shadows moving across sealed glass. I went alone, wasn't supposed to, but my partner begged off last minute. The old caretaker handed me the iron key and whispered, "If you hear the singing, do not answer back." I laughed. Shouldn't have. The air in the basement was dry as a tomb. Cold too, despite the radiator pipes overhead. As I swept my torch along the wall, every hair on my arms rose. It smelled like old books, dust, and something almost metallic, thin, sharp, like blood. First, it was a voice. A child's song, drifting up the stairwell. Not from above, but from below, beneath slabs that had been undisturbed for decades. I told myself it was plumbing. I pounded the pipes. The singing stopped and was replaced by a scraping, a long, slow drag across concrete. In the far corner, I caught movement. Huddled behind a stack of crates was a child-sized figure. His eyes shone animal bright, glowing gold and hungry, set above cheeks so pale they almost glowed. He looked at me and he smiled. Only the mouth, it was wrong. Too wide. Teeth that gleamed sharp, two longer than the rest. Thin carnation lips, stained deep red. I dropped my torch. When I stooped to pick it up, he was gone. But a thin smear of blood trailed up the bricks, like something had climbed the wall and vanished into shadow. Suddenly, the singing returned. Louder, urgent, all around, as if 10 voices now harmonized with the just vanished child. My skin crawled. I bolted for the stairs, but the basement door was wedged tight, wouldn't budge. The child spoke, voice close to my ear. Not Russian, but French. Pourquoi t'es ici? Why are you here? I slammed at the door, refused to look back. The temperature plummeted. My fingertips burned, and for a split second, I felt breath, cold, hungry, along my neck. When the door finally gave, I fell into the hallway, sobbing and gasping. The caretaker was gone. My hair, once jet black, turned white at the temples that night. I never told the bishop all the details. Didn't have to. His eyes said he'd heard it before. I never will set foot on those grounds again. I know what nightmares stalk the last of the Romanov blood. The House of Bathory. I'm Amelia Farkas, 29, folklorist and PhD candidate, born and raised just outside Cactus. My work is rooted in science, tradition, anthropology, never superstition. I've spent years debunking local legends, especially the ones about Countess Ursabet Bathory. Everyone around here trades whispers about the Blood Countess, but I never believed any of it until I started cataloging reliquary artifacts from the castle cellars. Spring 2 years ago, Cactus Castle. Fog still clung late into the mornings. I was alone most days. Few want to dwell in rooms with that much history, that many stains in the stonework. My project was simple: catalog, photograph, preserve. Tradition says nothing survived her, but I uncovered a small, iron-bound trunk walled off in foundation rubble, unregistered, unmarked. The moment I set it on my work table, the room chilled. My breath clouded the air, though it was almost summer above. I told myself it was the stone, the thick walls. When I pried it open, the latch shrieked, a sound too sharp for rusted iron. Inside, old clothing, a ring with the Bathory crest, and, beneath faded silks, a flask. Liquid still inside, dark as garnet, impossibly preserved. The room seemed to pulse, and I felt the weight of being watched, eyes probing from the darkened hall beyond. My heart thundered. I tried to blame nerves, but the silence felt active, hungry. I lifted the flask. It was cold, sticky. As I angled it to the light, strange patterns swam in the liquid, almost like shapes moving. I blinked. When my eyes refocused, there, through the dust-caked mirror that hung behind my work table, I caught the reflection of a woman. Tall, emaciated, hair the color of old blood, standing behind me. Her eyes were unblinking, lips split in a thin, humorless line, stained red as the flask. Bony white hands rested on my shoulders, but I felt only cold. Still, in the mirror, she watched. She bared her teeth, too many, too sharp, and mouthed, "Drink." "Inherit." I screamed, spun around. Nothing. The air thick with the smell of iron, old roses, mold. The flask fell and shattered, its contents steaming. The face in the mirror stayed for just a heartbeat longer after she vanished from the room, then dissolved like spilled ink. I left everything behind and sprinted up the spiral stone staircase in a harsh daylight. My legs barely worked. I wept, shaking, sweat freezing on my skin even as the sun burned outside. That night, I dreamt her voice, felt the chill hand clutching my heart. I've never gone back, though sometimes I swear I glimpse her shadow as the sun sets, waiting in every window, promising blood and legacy. Bathory blood is legend, but legends are born from something true. I believe now. I know what I saw. The House of Dracula, the modern descendant. My name is Mihai Ionescu, 34. I manage a tourist hostel in Sighisoara, Romania, a few streets from Vlad Dracula's supposed birthplace. I've always laughed at the vampire hunters and true believer guests, until one summer night, I let a guest stay who only called herself L. Draculesti. It was late July, tourists everywhere. She arrived after midnight. No bags, no ID, just a thick roll of old currency and a letter of introduction from a priest. She said she was researching her lineage. When she signed the register, her handwriting was old-fashioned, almost gothic. Strange things started at once. All the mirrors in her room cracked by morning. My dog whined and refused to enter the hall outside her door. At night, the air by her room grew frigid, strange for the heat of summer, and the house felt shrouded, muffled. 2 nights after she arrived, I brought up extra towels. The door was half open, shadows twisting on the walls, though no light was burning. She stood by the window, staring at the blood-orange moon, her hair loose, eyes distant and luminescent. She turned and fixed me with a stare, and for a split second, her face warped, cheeks drawn, teeth lengthening, a darkness spreading beneath her eyes. I froze. She smiled, lips stretching into something not quite human. She beckoned me in. Her voice was soft as velvet. "You see me, don't you?" I managed no words, couldn't. The chill deepened. Shadows rippled along the walls, twisting like snakes. No one believes me, Mihai, but our blood remembers. Her eyes burned red, mouth parting to reveal teeth meant for rending, not smiling. For a moment, she drifted towards me, feet never touching the floor. I stumbled backward, crashed into the doorframe. She laughed, a hollow, ancient sound, and the swirling shadows snapped back to normal as if nothing had happened. She left before dawn. Her room was empty, but for the broken mirrors and a fresh, vivid stain on the bedspread, rust red. I closed that room and never opened it again. No one stays in there now. I tell myself it's all stories, but I know. Some blood runs forever, and some guests should never be welcomed after midnight. You've heard 5 accounts, 5 bloodlines, each bound by power and shadow, cloaked in centuries of secrecy. What ties these royal houses together isn't just rumor or fear, it's the persistent absence of explanation. Documents vanish. Witnesses resign or disappear. Objects rot themselves out of existence. And yet, the stories remain. History is a living thing, its veins running deep beneath marble palaces and candlelit crypts. Tonight's accounts remind us that every legend, the child singing in the dark, the pale figure stalking palace halls, the cold hand reaching from an unbroken lineage, began with something someone saw. It's enough to make you wonder what blood flows through the veins of those who walk above us, ruling from towers and thrones, and which side of the night their souls truly serve. Have you glimpsed a secret the world wasn't meant to see? Share your story in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more tales where myth and reality blur. Let us know what legends haunt your family's past. This has been Nightbound Bloodline. Thank you for listening. Until next time, sleep with one eye open.